Hi, I'm John Hirschberger, assistant coach of 2019 Bremen Lions softball team.
Hi, I'm Riley Hirschberger. I played center field for the 2019 state champs of Bremen Lions.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Traxler, and I played second base on the 2019 state championship Bremen softball team.
Hi, I'm Hannah Rao. I played first base for the Bremen girls softball team.
Hi, I'm Kaylin Shibley, and I was the pitcher on the state championship team of Bremen 2019.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Myers. I played left field on the state championship softball team in 2019.
Hi, my name is Carly, and I was the catcher for the Bremen softball state championship team.
I'm Aaron Koffel, and I played shortstop on the state championship team in 2019.
My name's McKenna Myers. I played right field for the softball state championship team of 2019.
Going into your senior year then, what
Yeah.
kind of expectations did you have for the team after that?
So I knew they were going to be pretty high.
At first, we didn't know how we were going to try and stay on that high during the season like we did last year.
You never are super sure that you're going to go somewhere because anything can happen at any given moment. My dad always says, like, any team, anytime, and I think that's very true, but I don't think anybody at the beginning of the season expected to go to state, but before the season even started, we all were like, we're gonna go to state, like, just as a joke, you know. It was like a funny thing to say.
And you guys started off, undefeated for quite a while, right?
Yes.
And then what happened?
And then we faced Penn, who is known as really the power school in our conference. We knew that no one expected us really to win because it's Penn, that's just how it's always been. So we knew we didn't really have anything to lose if we lost. So we just went in and tried to play our hardest, and it was still early in the season, so things didn't go our way. But I think if we would have played them later in the season and got more games underneath our belt, I think it would have been a lot different game.
I think my record was 25-0. Yeah, but it was a Saturday morning game, I think, and I just don't know. We weren't ready to play. Their pitcher was a good pitcher, but it's just like we would get people on base. We would have bases loaded. I think we had bases loaded like 3 times, and then the next batter that came up just couldn't hit it. And I mean, I was one of those people one time, and I don't know. It's just one of those games, But I think it really set us in our place. Like,
Do you think it helped?
Yeah, I think, yeah. People always say, you can never get better whenever somebody closes the door, there's always another door that opens. So, and you can't learn from your successes, you always learn from failure. So I think we definitely had to have somebody knock us down a peg type thing, and that's exactly what Coach Hupper and Coach John and Coach Rob had said in our little after the game circle. They were like, you weren't ready for this game. You were already thinking about state in June, and it's April. Like, what are you doing? Like, you have to play every game before the big one. So yeah, I definitely think that those losses helped us get to that big victory.
Yeah. So you finished the season and you're heading into the postseason. What was the feeling on the team when you guys were getting ready for the postseason?
We really just tried to keep the postseason. We tried to make it feel just like regular season. We didn't want to put a bunch of pressure on ourselves that we didn't need to, because in the end, the postseason is just like regular season. You just have to take it one game at a time.
Going into the postseason, we were confident that if we worked hard, we could achieve, success. We would go to practices, and practices can sometimes seem mundane for us because we usually go in and do the same thing over and over and over again each day. But at that point, going into the postseason, we understood that practices cannot be mundane, that the repetition is muscle memory. And that the more that you did something in a specific order, the more that you're going to be successful doing it in a game-like situation. So I think that going into the postseason, practices were a big focus for us because, usually at a practice during the season, we could joke around, we could feel relaxed, but during preparing for the postseason was really serious because we knew we had unfinished business. We knew we needed to redeem ourselves from our loss the year before, and it took a lot more focus than we had initially given during the regular season, if that makes any sense.
I was pretty nervous. I knew we had a huge target on our back, and our sectional Central Noble was actually really good. So for that sectional championship game, I remember sitting on the bus because Kenna is my little partner on the bus, and I was I'm actually really, really nervous right now. I'm really nervous for some reason. She's like, yeah, so am I. And honestly, I think it was just that we wanted to get to state so bad, but we had to take it game at a time, one game at a time, every time.
People would in town, they would see us at the CVS or somewhere, and they'd be like, oh, are you guys going to state? And it's the week before sectionals, and you're like, well, we got to win this game to win this game to get to there, so we hope so.
So we didn't want to really make it seem like it was some crazy thing when really it's just another game. So we tried to keep everything as normal as possible and not really worry about, oh, it's sectionals time. We just kept it normal. We stayed cool, and we really just wanted to play how we do.
Was there a game that you were looking towards that might be the toughest one?
The semi-state game.
Boone Grove.
Yeah, Boone Grove was the championship for semi-state, and that was the game where I was like, oh, are we really gonna do this right now? Are we seriously gonna end this here?
So I think that had kind of scared us a little bit because we honestly thought that we were going to play Tipton again like we did last year. And so we were comfortable with that pitcher. We had seen her already. We knew what she threw. So seeing Boone Grove, it was a little bit different. She had a rise ball, and she had a very good changeup. But we were able to lay off the rise, and we were able to pick out her changeup so we could identify when it was coming and really just sit back and hit that one hard.
We had a delay of game because of lightning, and then during that delay of game, we all sat down and just talked in the dugout like this is our time, we can do this. And I think that time that we had together really just made us want it that much more.
We were kind of puckering up a little bit, so the rain delay definitely helped us get a breath and say, okay, we got this. Just let's get some hits together and we'll do it. So that's what we did.
You guys pulled it out. Huh?
Yeah.
Going into that week, did coach have any special instructions for you guys on looking for that kind of stuff, or did you? Balls
We worked on a lot of different pitches. He has so many pitches that he can throw at us to try and trick us. So he definitely just tried to throw everything at us so we could be ready for everything, because our coaches try to prepare us for anything that comes at us in a game, because even though if you do a scouting report on someone, it might not always be right. It might be different because in the end it's a high school girl, so you never really know what you're gonna get when it comes to the other team. So even though you said, okay, this girl has a rise ball, she might not throw it. She might not throw her drop that game you go to watch, and then she has this amazing drop ball, and it's completely different than what we thought. So our coaches just try and throw all these different things at us so that we're prepared and that we can adjust during the game.
So you get past that game. Now let's go to the state championship game. How was your senior year different from your junior year when you got there?
So senior year, the week preparation was as perfect preparation as you could. We had a balanced routine, went to school, went to practice, went home.
Speedway was a more overpowering team defensively with their pitching. Tecumseh, we knew more of their skill sets, we knew their weaknesses, and we really studied them in a way that didn't freak us out like we did Speedway.
The year before, we had video of Speedway. This time for Tecumseh, we had nothing. They didn't have any stats on any web pages, no stats anywhere. But I have a buddy down south that lives real close to Tecumseh, so I called him and I asked him for some information to see if he could help me, and he guided me to a few people. So I called these people and I got some information. Everything that I was told was they're very young. We start a lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores. The pitcher's not overbearing. She throws a fastball with a changeup. They had 3 or 4 lefties. They all can run. They like to slap. They like to bunt. That whole week that was our focus. We didn't really talk about their so-called power hitters. We talked about their slappers. So in practice, we worked on our slap defense, and it didn't go over very well. And we had probably one of our worst practices for the week. Was the week of the state finals, yeah. And some of that was us coaches' fault, because we tried to throw something at them that they weren't really comfortable with. And what we did practice, we didn't even do in the game.
Coach Hupper he talked to us actually. He was like, we aren't going down there this time to just see Purdue. We're going down there on a business trip. We're going down there to win this year.
I remember Guppy, or Caitlin Myers, our left fielder, we call her Guppy, on the way down there, she stood up and she said, guys, we can't come down here twice and lose twice. The town's going to hate us. And so I think that was kind of a humorous gesture for us to let some steam off, but honestly, it kind of hit you like, yeah, we can't come down here and lose twice.
What was that first at-bat like for you?
For some weird reason, it didn't really feel like a state championship game. It honestly just felt like a regular season game.
Oh, man. That was, whoa. I don't think I'm ever going to feel that much people looking at me like, whoa. But I was just like, okay, do not make yourself look like a fool in front of all the people that are watching you on TV, all the people that are in the stands. And yeah, it was.
So you were aware of the fact that was on TV, like that?
Yeah.
Because you were aware of that.
Yeah. But yeah, once when I walked up to the plate, I was like, oh my gosh, like, and then once I stepped in and I took that first swing, I was kind of like, okay, this is just another game. So
I was really ready at that point. I think it was a ball, though. I'm not gonna lie, it probably was. I might have even walked the first batter, but after that, I think it just like everything just came into place, and I was settled in.
I would say a confident nervous, just a good mix of the two, because we were confident that we could do the work that needed to be done to, do our job for the team. Every player has a job, and Kaylin and I were confident that we could do our best at our job. But obviously playing at a big stage like Purdue and being on national television and having thousands of people watching you, and the pitcher and catcher touch the ball the most during the game. You have the most opportunity to mess up. Kaylin and I were definitely nervous about that.
So a little bit extra pressure there. How did you feel when you got down early?
I don't think we felt defeated, but I think it added to the pressure and nerves. It was like, man, not only are we fighting, to stay equal, we're now fighting to get that run back. We're now behind. And so
Coach Huppert tells us to pucker up, and we did. When you have a team score on you in the first inning, you're like, wow, that's how this game is going to go. And it was kind of a flashback to the year before because they had scored early on us as well. And we're just like, gosh, we have to stop the bleeding.
I was nervous. It's always better for a pitcher to know that you're above them, like that you're up. You know, if you had the first run, it's just like that kind of that padding, you know?
Obviously, it was like, okay, this seems pretty good. We knew that going in. This team's that pretty good, but we know that we can hit this pitcher, and we know that we could do it. I know before every single time we went into hit, we huddled up and were like making adjustments bat to bat.
I really wasn't too concerned about it. It had only been one run, and we have been known to put a lot of runs on the board. So I wasn't too concerned, and really we've been putting runs on the board against all types of pitching. So I knew that whatever the other pitcher was throwing, that eventually we would catch on to it. Because in the postseason, we haven't really been scoring until the fourth inning. So I was like, okay, you know, it's fine. We're going to start scoring. It's not going to be that big of a deal.
I think all of us knew that before that we were kind of running through the motions, and I think a lot of us can agree with that. We were just saying, okay, we just got to go through the motions and we'll win this game. And then that run was scored, and all of us had this moment where we were like, oh my gosh, this is a game. We are at Purdue Bittinger Stadium right now. We need to get into business mode and get this going. And we were in business mode before, but it was an instant realization where this is not happening again. All of us kind of had some deja vu going on where we're just like, no, we're not going to let this happen. And there was a lot of screaming and yelling, and not at each other, but just the intensity that you could feel in that dugout, that everybody was not tight wound, but we were all just relaxing, but becoming more intense to each other. So we were like grabbing each other and saying, let's go, we got to get this going. And I came off the field, and I actually don't know if anybody heard me, which is kind of embarrassing, but I came off left field after we had an inning where nobody scored, and I think it was the third maybe. And Coach Harper was yelling at everybody, and I just came into the dugout, and I was screaming louder than I have ever screamed in my entire life. It was the loudest thing I've ever done, and I don't even think anybody heard me because it was just kind of me yelling to myself. And I said, we are not letting this get done right now. We are not letting it be done. And Aaron Koffel yelled again, and Riley yelled again, and Kaylin yelled again, and Carly yelled again, and Kenna yelled, and everybody at that point was just together and saying, we are not done, we are not finished, we need to reach higher, like we need this blue, like we are not done.
The comes calls timeout, so Mike comes over to the dugout, and we go out, and Mike says, okay, what are we going to do? What do you want to do? Do we bunt? Again, first thing in my mind was, yes, we're going to bunt. Let's move them over. They're going to walk Aaron. You know, if we move them up, we're going to walk Aaron. Well, we've had success with Traxler in the past and Kaylin in the past with bases loaded. But I said, hey, let's do this. I said, let's have Riley, because Tecumseh, we noticed earlier in the game that when we tried to bunt sometimes, the second baseman was going to first base right away. So there was that big hole, first baseman was charging, third baseman was charging. I said, let's have Riley push, hard bunt, try to get it past the first baseman, past the pitcher. The second baseman's not going to be there. That was the indication. And then I said, okay. He goes, well, what happens if it's a ball or if something doesn't work out? What do you want to do with the second pitch? I said, okay. I said, let's have her show the bunt, pull back, they're charging again, and let's slap it by them. Well, when she went to square around the first pitch and didn't bunt, didn't do anything, I'm thinking, oh, okay. So she was supposed to fake bunt and slap it, and I believe it was a ball, so now we're going to count 1-1. Next pitch is 2-1. So I look at Mike, and he doesn't have her do anything. He wants her to swing away. So I'm thinking, okay. So he fouls the next pitch off. Now it's 2-2. And by this time, what I do is when I'm in the dugout, I try to distance myself from her, from home plate to where I'm at, because I don't want to be yelling at her. So I walked clear to the end of the dugout. And so the next pitch, I think she fouled another one off, so still 2-2. Then she gets full count, and then she gets that base hit. And I knew the left fielder made an error, but I wasn't quite sure because I didn't watch. The only thing I was watching was the runners, because I knew the girl that was on second, she was going to score easy. Even if she would have not made the error, the left fielder wouldn't made the error, I knew we were going to score. It was still going to be 1-1. And then when she missed it, and Paige scores, makes it 2-1. I thought, okay, Aaron's coming up, got her on third, they're gonna walk her, they walked her, and they called timeout again. So Mike asked, what do we do with Aaron? I said, oh, you gotta send her, let her steal, you know. Now we still got Cratchler with runners. Kaylin comes up, and I think, oh boy, we're gonna bust this wide open. And it didn't work out. Kaylin hits a weak ground ball back to the pitcher. Riley's out. McKenna Meyer, she strikes out. And then Hannah DePoy makes a dink looper to the shortstop. And I think, oh gosh, that was our chance. Yeah, bases loaded, nobody out. That was our chance.
Okay, so what was the last out? What was the last out?
Oh my gosh. So me and Riley Hirschberger actually called this out. Me, Kenna, and Riley, the outfielders, called it. Kaylin, actually standing to my left right now, couldn't throw a strike to save her life, and we were all mad at her.
Too many nerves for sure. I think I was getting more ahead of myself, almost wanting the game to be over, wanting us to win that game. And it's not that, like I said, I think I struck out 2 of the batters, but I walked 1 batter, which was, I don't usually walk people. Like, to be honest, I don't like walking people. I don't think any pitcher likes to walk someone. Every single play or every single pitch that I pitched was just slow motion, ready for the next thing to happen. I think that last out, as soon as she hit it, I just had a feeling I knew it was going to be caught.
People say, my teammates say, oh, I knew Riley was going to catch it. But from the outfield, that ball came off the bat really hard. And we had a runner on 1. And, of course I was watching the ball, but mainly I was watching that runner advance bases. And I was like, if this ball is not caught, we lose.
When that last out was hit, you could see all the coaches in the dugout on the videotapes just go, oh my gosh. Everybody's breath just stopped, and you can see it, and everybody's just going like this, and you didn't even have to put the video into slow-mo. And Riley caught that ball, and she just ran in on it and caught that ball. And
I kind of froze. I was like, but I really wasn't as nervous as what people, all the reporters asked, how do you feel? It was a routine fly ball. I had to catch it no matter what. But right when I caught it, I put my head down and I just started bawling. And then Kenna and Guppy came and immediately hugged me. And we were having our own celebration in the outfield, and we're like, oh wait, and we missed the dog pile on the infield.
Instantly, it was just, I couldn't feel anything in my body, and I have chills and want to cry right now thinking about it. And
when she got the ball, I just screamed because I did not know what else to do. I screamed and ran towards Kaylin and Aaron and Carly all at the pitcher's mound. And Aaron had already tackled Kaylin at this point, so I just jump on top of him. And it was just so amazing. And I couldn't really feel any emotions except for smiling.
Riley really needed that, especially with what happened with her dad early in the season. That's like movie magic, and you can't make that up.
I was sick to my stomach because of the phone call that I received on our way to practice. And in my car, I have Bluetooth, and when I saw a number come up, I'm thinking, do I answer it? Do I let it go? I wasn't sure what the conversation was really going to be about. And when the doctor gets on the phone and she starts talking, I couldn't hang up fast enough. I couldn't get off Bluetooth fast enough, and she overheard it. And something that we as a family try to stress is, let's don't keep secrets. Let's don't lie to each other. And for the longest time, well, since November a year ago, my wife and some other people that did know kept saying, why aren't you going to tell Riley? Why aren't you telling Riley? Maybe you should. But at the time, I thought I was doing the right thing. And because I knew it was her senior year, I knew we had something special. She has some goals, and I didn't want her to lose focus of any of that. I didn't want her to lose any focus of her senior season, because it's supposed to be her best times. I didn't want her to lose focus. And we already knew that she was going to go to Defiance, and I didn't want her to say, okay, Dan, you're sick, I'm going to stay home. I didn't want, she needs to get out and experience her own, she needs to grow up. That's what I was thinking. And that's part of the reason why I never told her. And then when she overheard the conversation, I hang out with the doctor, and she goes, okay, Dan, it has spread. And she goes, don't you dare lie to me. What am I supposed to do? And so I told her everything that was going on, what I knew, what I was going to have to do. And like she already mentioned, she didn't want to go to practice. She's hysterical. And so my first job was to calm her down, and let her know that it's going to be okay. It's just another fight that we're all going to have to go through. So once she kind of calmed down, I said, okay, stay in the car, collect yourself, and let me go tell the girls what's going on, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so obviously everybody knows that he was sick, and that makes me emotional. It all started multiple years ago when he first got sick, and we were all really, really close to him. And it was really hard to see one of our best friends, which is Riley, go through the things that she did and be worried about her dad. And we could never relate to her on what that feels like to be, seeing a dad suffer right in front of your eyes and not be able to do anything about it. And everything got better for a while, and it was amazing to just know how he grew, and his life experiences and the way that he viewed life was completely different. And he was such a humble person, and he's just has such a positive outlook about things. And halfway through the season, Riley didn't come out for practice. She's sitting in a car, and all of us were like, this is weird. Like, Riley's typically the first person here with her dad at practice.
We knew something was wrong. And when John sat us down and talked to us, it was a shock. And I think in those moments, you never really know how someone impacts your life until you get news like that. So the minute we got that news, I just started thinking, what would life be like if John wasn't in it? And it was just something I think that's what made us all so emotional was, what would we do without John here? Because he is such a big part of the Bremen program and someone that influences all so much.
So it was definitely hard for all of us because John has been such a great person that's been in all of our lives. He's been with those girls a lot longer than me, but during the winter when the weather was bad, I'd always stay at his house with Riley. So he definitely become like a second dad to me.
We basically all grew up together. We all played softball together. We were all best friends in high school. We saw each other in the halls all the time. Just said hi and we always messed around with each other. Our chemistry was on a whole other level, and I really think that's a huge part of why we won state that year.
You guys had a lot of support from the community, right? It was you had to have a lot of, pep rallies and that kind of stuff. Did you guys have one before the game? I assume, or?
No, actually, we didn't have a pep rally.
No?
So, funny thing about that is I actually scheduled a pep rally for the football team earlier in the year because if you didn't know, our football team went to semi-state and it was amazing. But we were actually out of school when we went to state. So everybody was like, we want to have a pep rally, but nobody's going to come because all the students were in school. So all of the kids that, didn't have rides or did whatever, they probably wouldn't come. But I think the pep rallies for us were the things that we did before as a team, and the parents, the pep rallies were just the fact that everybody in town went and decorated the windows and their signs got changed. Rather than come, it's a sale of 50% off, it was, somebody shut the lights off when you're the last person in town. That was a really big thing to us that just made us smile. That could have been even maybe bigger than a pep rally. That the people that did the things like that in town, the people that offered us dinners and all of that kind of stuff was amazing. Yeah.
On the way home, we always play the climb for my dad, so when that happened on the way home, we were close to Bremen. We all got in a circle and just looked at each other and sang the song, and we cried. And then on the way home, they let us roll the windows down, and we stuck our heads out the window yelling at every car possible, just telling them that we won state, and then we kept making cars honk for us, and we just jammed out pretty much.
You guys had a couple of songs that were like your song of the year, right? What was the other one? Do you remember?
Humble and Kind.
Humble and Kind, and then there was something.
Oh,
about
and
Fight.
yeah, Fight for Me.
Yeah.
We played Fight for Me before every game.
And what did that song mean to you guys?
Actually, we first learned it. A couple of girls first learned it in 0 hour, which is weights, and we're like, wow, like this song is actually like perfect. And then it just like stuck to us, and then we knew like to fight, to not to give up.
And you had a little extra to play for this year, right, too, because of the situation with your dad, right?
Mhm.
Can you tell me a little bit about that if you want to?
I wasn't supposed to know. I found out before practice, which I was mad, not gonna lie. So I didn't want to go to practice. I was mad and I was sad, but he made me go to practice. And then I got down to practice, all the girls were crying. And I was like, I didn't know what to do. I was just like, I didn't know what to do. So like practice came and we're like, okay, like we're okay. Everything will be fine. Because the girls kept saying like, oh, I have your back, like we're going to go through this together. So I was like, okay. So then finally, like before every game we had like a prayer circle and we're like, play for him, play for us, play for the team. And that meant a lot, not only to him but to me, because he's my dad.
Yeah.
But like I know like if we would have won, how much that would have meant to him.
So do you think it kind of gave a little extra motivation?
Motivation, yeah. I think after that happened, we became more motivated. It made us like fight for more and push harder because we.
It's like I really don't think I would be anything I am today without the friends that I've made and the teammates that I've had along the way. It's very obvious to me that sports have given me the best friends that I could ever have and that I will definitely keep in touch with for the rest of my life.